Hey everybody, welcome back to the Working Man's Whiskey. I'm Bobby. Today's review I'd like to do is Old Forester Signature. And Old Forester Signature is the 100 proof offering from Old Forester. Old Forester is one of the brands of whiskey that I really enjoy reviewing. Not just for its its quality, which is always really good, but the historical aspect. You guys know I love a good story, the Old West, just all that stuff. That time period back then, the 1800s. This whiskey kind of embodies all those things in one. In 1870, a guy named George Garvin Brown founded Old Forester. He was a pharmaceutical salesman, George Garvin Brown, and he kind of turned. He started selling whiskey, I guess, and then started making whiskey after that. And as time went on, he had a customer named Dr. William Forester, and Dr. William Forester was a big fan of the whiskey that George Garvin Brown was selling him. So he highly endorsed its consumption, and George Garvin Brown ended up naming the whiskey after Dr. William Forester. So kind of interesting there. Old Forester, one of the cool things is it was one of, I think, only like 10 whiskeys that during Prohibition was granted kind of immunity from Prohibition. They were able to keep on producing and selling their whiskey for medicinal purposes. And Old Forester is the only whiskey, the only bourbon continuously produced by the same family, the Brown family, before, during, and after Prohibition, straight through to this day, which I thought was pretty cool. And you guys probably know the name Brown-Forman, which George Garvin Brown, he was the founder of Brown-Forman. They produce well-known whiskeys today: Jack Daniels, Old Forester, Woodford Reserve, and Early Times, just to name a few. So they're a pretty big deal in the whiskey world. And I just think it's so cool that the Brown family, as I said, continues to produce these whiskeys and kind of keeps it in the family to this day. So, as I said, just always look forward to reviewing Old Forester products. The Statesman will do at some point, but this one I definitely wanted to get in, especially since we're approaching review number 100. Wanted to do another one of the bourbons that I love talking about and telling stories about. This is an award-winning whiskey. They've won a lot of awards over the years, guys. And I'll read you the back of the bottle here. There's a little picture there of George Garvin Brown. Kind of a cool old school picture. Old West days right there. And it says, Old Forester, you're holding history. A spirit so finely crafted that in 1870, bourbon pioneer George Garvin Brown bottled it, sealed it, signed it, and pledged, "This is mine. I guarantee every drop." Today, over 140 years later, nothing much has changed. Yes, we take our history neat. And on that note, guys, about George Garvin Brown bottling it and all that, Old Forester was the first whiskey, the first bourbon whiskey, I should say, to be featured in sealed glass bottles. Before that, you'd find people making whiskey and, popping a cork in there, but not really sealing them or anything. George Garvin Brown was the first one to do that. And it just kind of ensured the product's quality. So another cool thing about Old Forester, and just adds to kind of the legend of you know, how how great this stuff is, and just the part it's played in bourbon history. You know, I just think it's a really interesting brand, and has stood the test of time. And you might not hear of it as much as you'd hear about say Jim Beam or Jack Daniels, or Old Crow, different brands that have that's names you would have found back then, and still found now. Still find them now. Yeah, this one you might not hear of as much, but it plays no less a part in the history of American whiskey than the other ones I mentioned. So, anyway, guys, let's open this up and do a little review here. All right. Okay, so go. All right, and I don't know how old this stuff is exactly, guys. Couldn't find an age statement. Just what little bit I know, and I've had this several times. I would guess this is somewhere around maybe 5 or 6 years old, but that's just kind of a shot in the dark there. So you look at the color, and it's a little bit darker than your typical bourbon. It is 100 proof. Definitely looks like it has some decent barrel char in there. So let's give it a nose. And on the nose, guys, on the nose, you get I get a few things, a few pretty dominant, scents on the nose. I do get a good amount of wood, good amount of oak from the barrel. I get some good spice, some good rye spice, some good cinnamon type spice. I get you definitely get some fruity notes in this. Maybe apple. I definitely get cherry, I believe. I can smell, it smells like maraschino cherry to me. It's got you can tell that it's high, it's got a high proof, 100 proof. You can tell, you get a little bit of that alcohol in the nose. But for 100 proof bourbon, it's not that a lot of 100 proof bourbons don't smell very good or anything, but it's got a very nice nose. It's funny, it smells like it's high in proof, but at the same time, it's pretty calm for a high proof, 100 proof bourbon whiskey. It's got a lot of good things going for it. You can pick out several individual notes on the nose there, but yeah, I get as I said, a lot of fruit, wood, definitely spice, that cinnamon and rye spice. Definitely a little bit of caramel as well. So let's take a taste, guys. And on the palate, you get all those things I mentioned. I mean, right away, that spice is really, really good. It's definitely got a little bite there on your tongue, in a good way. Not a nasty, bitter bite, but just that good cinnamon and rye, and kind of like just a baking spice type sizzle, I guess, on your tongue there. And definitely get some wood, some good barrel in there. Guys, I mean, it comes from the same family. I mean, this is Old Forester, Brown Foreman, same as Woodford Reserve. And it reminds me a little bit of Woodford Reserve. I can always get the oak, in Woodford. That's one of their kind of signature qualities in their whiskey. Definitely get that wood in here. Some decent sweetness, guys. Like not too sweet. This isn't overly sweet, but it's got a nice little subtle sweetness about it. Some good kind of like caramel and vanilla. Good sweet notes to it. Let's take another taste. And there in the back again are those fruity notes. You know, under the I'd say the spiciness and the woodiness kind of take charge on this one on the palate, but definitely you definitely get those kind of cherry notes, and it's funny. I get cherry notes. I get like apple notes. I get even some like citrus notes. You know, just in the back there. The cherry and the apple more so, but definitely get a little bit of like a little bit of orange as well. So, guys, this is one of those whiskeys that has a lot going on. You know, it's funny. Every time I drink this, it's like you know, there's something new that I can pick out. You know, you can also a lot of times when I drink this, it's funny. I'm not really getting it this time, but a lot of times when I drink Old Forester, you can pick out a bit of like a nuttiness as well. Definitely, usually a little bit of nuttiness on the palate. But yeah, this time it's funny. It's going more toward the spice and the fruit notes. This bottle here. So, guys, Old Forester. This bottle here cost me $21.99, probably about, you know, actually I can tell you it was I think $24 out the door, $24 exactly. So not bad at all, and I'd say it's definitely worth a buy. I would definitely go try this out if you haven't already. You know, if you if there's a bar somewhere near you, or just any place that carries this stuff, try it out. I think you'll want to buy a bottle. Once you try it out, it's got a lot of character. You know, for a low 20s, mid 20s bourbon, this is really really good stuff. And I would rate this out at let's go a 90 out of 100. I really really like this one, guys. So yeah, try it out. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you like it or not. Tell me if you can pick out different notes that maybe I didn't mention. As I said, there's always something new that I'm picking out in this one. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing your comments or seeing your comments and talking to you guys. And I'll come back soon. I think I told you guys I have one more review lined up for now. I think this is number 97. So the next one will be 98, and then I want to do something, something special for. Maybe not just 100, but maybe 99 as well. Something that, maybe a couple of my favorite whiskeys. You know, I mean, I do a lot of, I take a lot of requests. I do a lot of reviews on things that I may not have tried before. Some things I may not be a fan of, getting back into those flavored whiskeys. But, there's nothing I'm not willing to try at least once, guys. So definitely send me any feedback you guys might have on this one, and I'll get back to it soon. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Until next time, cheers.